Welcome viewers, Syndrome here with Breaking the Stream Gaming. Today I'm going to be starting a fresh playthrough of a rather old game, Dark Sun Shattered Lands, released by Strategic Simulations Incorporated way back in 1993. Dark Suns takes place in the Dark Sun D&D campaign setting, using the 2nd edition rule set. Now, let's see, I've already gone ahead and made my party here. I'm going to be using characters. Two of them are going to be human. I have a level 3 Fire Druid, a level 3 Preserver, which is Dark Sun's equivalent of a Wizard. I also have a full Elf Ranger Preserver Thief, so essentially Ranger Wizard Thief, and a half Elf Fighter Druid Preserver. Now, the way multiclassing works in older editions of D&D is that non-human races are able to take multiple classes at the same time. So basically, any experience that the party gets is going to be divided 3 ways for this character. So it here shows that she has 2,500 experience. Actually, this is really more like 7,500. It's just each of her 3 classes has 2,500 and levels up independently. And it's the same for him, just split between these classes. Now, humans work a different way. Humans have the option of dropping their current class and starting over in a new class. So basically, if I dual classed here, I could change Bale here from a Preserver into any of the other classes. Now, the advantage of this is that once you surpass your old class's level in your new class, you'll regain all of the abilities of that class. So my plan for actually both of these characters is to level up their respective classes to 7, so 7 Preserver and 7 Druid, and then dual class them into something else. Now, Amarissa here is going to be dual classing into... I'm thinking that she will probably go into Preserver. Bale here, I think I'm actually going to make him a thief as his second class. Now, let's see here. Syndrome is currently set up as a Ranger Preserver Thief. You know what, if I'm going to make Bale a thief, do we really need 2 in the party? We might be better off turning him into just a standard fighter. Well, he would be a cleric since he's a full. You know what? No, I'm going to leave that as it is. Thief is a pretty decent class in this game. It can do some significant damage with backstabs if you're properly equipped and the party's set up the right way. So we'll see how it plays out. Let's see what else there is to talk about. All right. Once I've gone through the second classes for both of these characters, I'm going to dual class them a 3rd time and turn them into gladiators. So eventually, these 2 will actually be my front line melee characters, and these 2 will evolve more into casters that are also able to fight, but they'll be more back row characters. Anyway, I am going to get things started here, and we are starting out in a slave pit, but I'll let this opening cinematic play. Okay, the game opens with us having been enslaved and sent to a gladiatorial arena to participate in death matches. Now, here we have an opening fight between a Defiler, a Rampager, and a couple of Sligs. Now, supposedly the Defiler can win this fight. I have never seen that happen, and I just don't understand how it would. The Rampager would have to miss every attack for so long. I just don't think it's possible. And that should be the end of that. Okay, now it's our turn. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of pre-buffing, I think. So what do we have here? We have a wizard. I'm going to go ahead and set up a shield on him. On our druid, let's see. I have 4 castings of second level spells, so I'm going to put Bark Skin on everybody. I'm going to put Bark Skin on 3 people. With her last casting, I'm actually going to go ahead and cast Flame Blade. This is going to give her a technically non-magical sword, but it actually has a bonus of +4 on it. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to both increase her chance to hit and to do damage. Okay, what else can we do? With her first level slots, let's go ahead and bless the party. And let's see what spells we started with here. Stinking Cloud and Fog Cloud, nothing terribly useful there, at least nothing we can pre-buff with. Here, I'll go ahead and put up a shield on him as well. And here, nothing else to set up there. I could give her a Shillelagh, actually. Yeah, why don't I go ahead and do that? A Shillelagh is, it's kind of a similar to that Flame Blade spell that I cast, but it's just a 2d4 weapon, which is a pretty significant upgrade over what we were using. Okay, now I'm going to move them in. This first fight here is not particularly challenging. Just a couple of sligs and a whisper beetle. I think that's what they're called. Screamer beetle. Kind of the opposite. Okay, and I'm just going to run them in and start attacking. So, the Dark Sun universe takes place on a planet called Athas. The sun of this world has gone, well, it's beginning to die and expanding, causing the temperature to rise significantly across the planet, which has resulted in the bulk of the world being desert. Very little plant life, and mostly primitive tribes ruled by, I think they're called Wizard Kings, Sorcerer Gods, something like that. Now, in this world, metal has become extremely rare. Most of the weapons that we're going to find, at least in the early to middle part of the game, are going to be made out of bone or wood or obsidian. Now, eventually, we will find some metal weapons, not to mention magical ones, and that'll help us. But it's definitely a world of scarcity. Now, I apologize in advance. We're going to be seeing a lot of these sligs, and I'm just going to call them slods all throughout. Um, I believe that they're related creatures in some context, but yeah, I have trouble distinguishing the two in my mind. Okay, not too shabby there. We won quick enough that the crowd gave us a little bit of money. But you know what? I think that I'm still ready to take on another fight. I'm not going to say that I'll take on his best because he'll send out monsters that will just wipe the floor with us at this point. But I am going to tell him that we're ready to do. Okay, this time I'm going to go ahead and cast another spell here. I'm going to curse the enemy party. This is going to reduce their Thaco. Now, for those of you who never engaged in first or second edition D&D, Thaco stands for to hit armor class 0. In the earliest editions of D&D, the numbers were, well, backwards for lack of a better way of describing it. So if I take a look at my character's armor class, it's a -1, which if you've played 3rd through 5th editions, you would realize that means that it's impossible to miss, except on a natural 1. In the older editions, though, this is actually a very respectable armor class. Essentially, the lower your AC and the lower your Thaco, the better off you are. So, because your Thaco it means to hit armor class 0, which is a good thing, um, The lower that number is, the lower you have to roll on a d20 to achieve it. So, for example, let's just say that my Thaco was a 5. In order to hit this armor class, I would have to roll a, what is that? If I need a 5 to hit an armor class of 0, I would need a 6 to hit an AC of -1. Now, the time that it took me to calculate in my head there is why they changed it to just positive numbers in the later editions. But for nostalgia purposes, I supposedly sometimes miss it. You'll also have come across that if you played any of the Gold Box series of games, particularly Pools of Radiance, or Pool of Radiance, rather. Now, I got started on these games when I was a pretty young kid. I was maybe 8 or 9 when I first played the Gold Box games, and maybe about 10 when I played this one. And I do have a particular fondness for the Gold Box games. In particular, the Kryn series, Champions, Death Knights, and Dark Queen of Kryn, which takes place in the Dragonland setting. But overall, I think that this is probably the most unique out of all the games. And it's not one of the Gold Box games. It's just made by the same company that did them, and it's a fun little game here. A little bit dark at times, but I enjoy it. Okay, looks like Bale was knocked out there, so we're going to have to bring him back. Unconscious characters aren't going to get a share of the experience, so I want to bring him back as soon as I can. Okay, Amarista's up, and she has healing, so I'm going to go ahead and cure light wounds on him. Oh, he's paralyzed. That's unfortunate, but we'll make do. And hopefully nobody else gets knocked out or paralyzed. So this is a Torqueen, which is basically a higher form of Three-Keen. These are one of the nastier monsters we're going to fight in the earlier part of the arena here. But not too bad. And we're currently playing on the hard difficulty level. I've tried it on the insanity difficulty level, which is the highest and one level above where we're at. And frankly, the game's just not fun. So I figure hard provides a good challenge without being just sort of unnecessarily punishing. Okay, now I might be able to take another fight, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to tell him that I don't want to fight. I'm going to come back this way. But let me see what I can do here. Everybody's in good condition. I've got some healing magic. Let's see how far this gets us. Who else can heal? She can heal. Got second level spells, and she doesn't have second level spells. That could be a little bit tight. You know, I'm not going to continue fighting here. I'm just going to head back into the slave pits here. So our goal in the earliest part of this game here is to escape our imprisonment and journey out into the desert to find allies. Really, it's just to survive. Now, there's quite a bit of text in this game, and some of it is just groan-worthy bad. I call attention to some things when I feel like it's a good use of time, but for the most part, it's not really going to provide us with any sort of lore or insight into things. So I'm mostly going to just skip over that. All right, here we have the slave pits. So the first thing I'm going to do is, well, listen in on a conversation accidentally. I'll deal with that later. But the first thing I'm going to do is pick up this empty water pot. That will be useful in just a minute here. Now I'm going to come over here and talk to this young woman, Gilal. Now, she is another slave. She isn't made to fight in the arena, probably because she would just not provide entertainment to the masses. But she has actually escaped from the dungeon. Now, she was caught, and they put a curse on her, which is causing her pain whenever anybody asks her about what happened. So, let's go and find somebody that can help her. There he is. This is the trustee. He's trusted with a set of keys. So let's see. I'm going to ask him where we can get some water. He says that Dinos, who's the cook down here, has access to it, and he's going to let us into the room. So I'll go ahead and meet him over by the door. It should only take him a minute to make his way back here. Okay, got a little bit of experience for that. Now, before I go talk to Dino, I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with water. A little bit more experience for that. Okay, now let's go talk to Dino. I take it back. First, I'm actually going to loot his closet, see if there's anything useful in there. Sometimes you can find a potion, and by potion, I mean piece of fruit. So this game is kind of interesting. It doesn't have potions like in most other D&D or really any sort of fantasy games. Fruit actually is so rare in this world that it has magical properties. Okay, nothing yet. I'll find more fruit later. Okay, we'll talk to Dinos here. In addition to being a cook, Dinos is actually a healer. So let's tell her that Gilal is in a bunch of pain, and then we'll lead him back over to her. That'll give us another little chunk of experience. All right, now we can talk to her. I'm not actually going to make use of the information that she has, but it's good to find out anyway. So, according to her, there is a secret passage out of the northernmost monster pen that'll lead us to the sewers. The sewers is how we're going to get out of here, but I have a more direct method of getting there. I'm just going to go through the guards once I've trained up enough in the arena to be able to overpower them. Okay, one last thing to do. Two remaining things to do. First, I'm going to talk to, I think his name is Mylin or something along those lines. He's a former noble that was imprisoned because I think he ran out of money. And he has a method of escaping. He wants us to find him a gem, which he can use to apply the proper bribes to get us out of here. Now, the complication with that is that the gem is held by this man, Semyon, who's strung up in the arena. That's what we need the water for. We're going to go and give him the water to save his life. Now, in reality, this guy is planning on betraying us, but we don't know that just yet. All right, and the last thing to do down here before we proceed on is to just head into this chamber. I'm guessing that this is a dead former slave, but he is guarding a little bit of loot, which it'll make things just the slightest bit easier. Now, on the wall here is a button that we're going to have to push. That'll open up the door there, getting us another little chunk of experience. Now, inventory space in this game is limited. Each character can only have, what is this, 12 items on them. Luckily, though, there are things like chests and bags. Each chest and bag is going to be 6 inventory slots, and we can actually pick all of them up. So let's go ahead and grab that. Now, if we look in her inventory, she has a chest with 6 additional inventory slots. So I generally like to fill up about half of each character's inventory with boxes and bags. So that'll give them roughly four times 6 times, 7 times, whatever. It gives them additional inventory space. Now, in that chest, we found some bone scale chest armor, which is an extra point of AC. Now, everybody else should have what armor they can equip. Druids have no limitations on the weapons that they can equip, but they can't equip any armor, which is problematic. Now, multi-classed druids, on the other hand, like Sinestra here, don't have that issue. Because she's part fighter, she can use any equipment in the game, basically. Preservers are pretty standard wizards. No armor, limited weapons. I think they can only use quarterstaves and daggers. Yeah, so we also found some magic arrows. I really dislike archery in this game. Or most of the time, I think that you're better off using the guard command, which basically holds all of your attacks and attacks the first thing that walks up to you. Okay, need to take the hinges off to get out of here. That's fine. Okay, this is Scar's gang down here, these 4 individuals. He won't talk to us yet. We need to win a couple more times in the arena, but he's another way for us to mount an escape. Now, though, I'm going to go rest up before we head back into the pit. Okay, I've rested. I'm going to also search this haystack here. Okay, we found a club, so that could be handy. There's very little reason not to dual wield in this game. Using 2 weapons, as far as I know, doesn't really have any penalties, and it gives you basically double attacks. So you can use this. She uses a shillelagh, so not her. I'll just give it to Syndrome here. Okay, they're calling us back out, so that's perfect timing. So let's head back over here. And I'm just going to save the game before we actually get into combat here, in case things go horribly wrong, which on my last playthrough, they did. So again, something particular to the earlier editions of D&D, elves in 1st and 2nd edition D&D cannot be raised from the dead. So if one of our characters dies, if it is one of the humans or the half-elf, that's, well, I think that raised dead is in the game. I think spells do go up to 5th level, so I think they can be brought back. Elves, however, are just gone. Now, if that happens, we could just kick him out of the party and recruit somebody new. Actually, I suppose that's not so bad, so maybe we'll have to end up doing that. In any case, though, I'm going to, again, buff up. I'm going to get out here and let them come to us before I buff up. How about that? This fight, again, be particularly difficult, but it'll be more challenging than the first one we had. Okay. So let's see what to do. First, we're going to put up a shield on anybody that has it. Let's see. Amarissa here is going to put bark skin on everybody. Not everybody. Everybody except herself. She has flame blade instead. Sinestra will bring up another shillelagh. And is there anything else that we can do? No, I think that that's about it. So I'll go ahead and bless with her. And then we're just going to run up to these guys and get into combat. So halflings in this world are actually pretty funny. They're a cannibalistic race. If you create a halfling character, its character portrait has it holding a bone in its hand. One of my viewers, Dogbog, if you're watching, basically what you think of elves, apply all of it to halflings in the Dark Sun universe. All right, this is going just fine. Nothing too tough here. These are mulls. Mulls are half dwarves who were bred specifically for arena combat. They're pretty tough characters. I'd say that they're pretty analogous to half orcs in other editions of D&D. Bonuses to strength and constitution, penalties to intelligence and charisma. All right, I'm definitely ready for another fight here, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, this is a little bit more challenging, more Torqueens. Let's go ahead and we're just going to curse them to decrease the chance that they actually hit us. All right, I'm going to focus on the Torqueens first off. In addition to just hitting several times, they have poison on their weapons, I believe, that causes paralysis. That's how Bale got taken out last time. All right, I think that was a backstab, which is why it did so much damage. Okay, got lucky with the hits there, so I think we'll be good for one more fight after this one, at least. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, looks like Syndrome is out cold and paralyzed, so we're going to have to bring him back. Bale is down to 3 hit points. Let's go ahead and move him over here and see if we can take that out. Okay, we did. Unfortunately, he's also knocked out. Okay, let's do some healing here. I'm going to bring Bale back first because he's not paralyzed. Okay, I guess we'll bring both of them back. All right, hopefully this should end it. There we go. All right, I'm going to do one last fight. I should have enough healing spells to maybe not fully heal the party, but at least get a little bit of life back. So I'm going to put a heal on Marista, and then I'm going to heal up Bale and Syndrome about as evenly as I can. And not as much healing as I'd like, but let's take a look at their spell effects. They both have shield still. Looks like Bark Skin has worn off, though. Oh, oh boy. Looks like those weapon spells have also worn off, so that's not ideal. But, let's go ahead and loot a couple weapons off the ground here. Looking for a club. There we go. Okay, that will at least let us dual wield some weapons. Okay. That should give us a little bit of an advantage here. Maybe not an advantage, but it'll give us a better chance of living. Same fight we just had. Hopefully the dual wielding, though, is going to help us a lot. I was hoping to be able to take out more than just the... Well, I was hoping to take out at least one of these guys. Yep, that's going to knock him out. Oh, nope, we got a little bit lucky there. Okay, that'll take out the first one. Let's see if we get lucky and are able to take out the second one without too much fuss. 1 hit point left on Syndrome. Come on. So close. Okay, Syndrome's knocked out. No healing left to bring him back. Ooh, paralysis, and she's knocked out. Okay, this could be going better. But I think we're still going to pull off the victory. Sinestro should be strong enough to take out all 3 of these. All right, gained a couple levels on people there. And I'm going to head back to the slave pits now and rest up. Now, I think that I'm going to call this video here, though. Now, between videos, I think that I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of training in the arena. These combats can kind of get a little bit repetitive, and I don't want to go long gaps between progressing the storyline. But I do need to do a considerable amount of training here. So I'm probably going to try and get the party up to levels, maybe about level 5 on our multi-class characters, if we can. And that's going to take probably an hour or two of grinding in the arena to achieve. So I'm going to do that between videos, and then we'll pick up as we continue with our escape out of the slave pits. Thanks for viewing, and I'll see you next episode.